Getting out of debt is one of the biggest struggle we have on our road to financial independence. Let's admit it's a struggle, right? It is a struggle. And we have all different types of debt. We got car loans, we got credit card debt, right? We got all different types of debt, student loan debt. And the struggle that makes it so difficult is the interest that we pay on these debt. Because your payments is not all going to the principal, right? Some of it is going to principal, sure, but the majority of it, in a lot of cases, is going toward the interest. And that's not helping you at all. And the biggest culprit is credit card debt because the interest rate is so high. We talk about compound interest and how your money just makes money. Credit card interest, the opposite is happening. Credit card interest, credit cards, compound interest is fighting against you. That's why it's so difficult to get out of credit card debt. You're paying interest on the interest on your debt, not just the principal. The principal is gaining interest, and not only do you have to pay off the principal, but you got to pay the interest too. So your money just being wasted. But what if there was a way, a strategy, a technique in which you can put a hold or put a pause on the interest and where all the money is going to principal? What we're talking about here is a balance transfer. Let me explain. You have certain credit cards out there. You have certain credit card companies out there, right? A lot of them do it. They all do it. Where they have what they call, it's called a 0% balance transfer card, which what they do is they have an intro APR. APR is like interest. They have an introductory period where any balance you transfer from another card to their card, there's 0% interest for a certain period of time. Right? It could be 12 months, it could be 18 months, it could be 21 months. And, so because of this length of time where there's 0% interest, if you transfer debt to that card, you have that time period in which you can pay down the debt without paying any interest. Everything will be going towards principal, right? There may be a fee attached to it because a lot of these 0% balance transfer card, they have maybe anywhere between 3 and 5% of the balance you're transferring. You have to pay that as a fee. For example, if you are transferring, say, $100,000, if you're transferring, say, $100,000 in credit card debt, right? You'd have to pay anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000, which is 3 to 5% of your balance transfer. Obviously, that is something to consider. What you'd want to do, ideally, would find a card where there is no balance transfer fee. You have to look in the disclosure of the credit card to find out to find if that fee will be charged. It may not say it up front. But a 0% balance transfer card is something to consider to give you a pause on the interest. So you can really use that time to pay down the debt. We're going to, again, like with everything else, there are pros and cons. One of the pros, obviously, you have a time frame where you can pay down the debt. Everything is going to principal, and you're saving money on interest. Right? That's great. What are the cons? The cons would be like, what if you're not able to pay off all the debt in that time frame where you have 0%, right? Because after that, it jumps back to a normal 15, 20, 25, 30% APR. So all you've done in that case would have been you potentially have paid a fee and you have just basically moved the debt from one card to another card, right? It's like shuffling the decks. It's like shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic. You're all going to the same place anyway. That's one of the cons. So you have to be careful that you're not doing that and that you're really using that time frame to get the debt down. But let's jump into my computer and look at some example of the 0% balance transfer card. So here we are in my computer looking at an article about some of the best zero balance transfer credit cards for 2026. Some of the things you want to look at when you're considering, some of the things to look at when you're considering what card you may want to get for the zero balance transfer are what type of credit are you going to need, right? Do you need excellent credit or is good enough good enough? So that's one of the things you have to look for, the credit that is required. So, for example, this Bank AmeriCard credit card, it says you need excellent or good credit, right? Recommended between 660 and 850. So, right, you want to know that, right? So if your credit score is not in that range, you want to look for another card that fits you. You also want to know the length of time the 0% interest rate or 0% APR will be in effect. Obviously, that's important because if you have only a short amount of time to pay down the debt at 0%, you got to move quickly. If you have a longer length of time, you can move at a more comfortable pace. So at this Bank of America credit card, we see that you have 0% APR for 18 billing cycles, which means 18 months. So that's a pretty good amount of time where you have 0% interest, right? So everything you're putting in is going toward the principal. After that 18 billing cycles or 18 months, the interest goes up between 15.49 and 25.49%. But with 18 months at 0%, hopefully you'll be completely done with your debt payoff by then. The other thing too you want to be aware of is the fee. Most cards are going to charge you a fee, a percentage of the balance you're transferring to that 0% interest card. It could be anywhere from 3 to 5%. You want to be aware, right? If you're transferring, you want to be aware because that's going to be a cost upfront to you. In this case, the fee is 3% if you transfer within 60 days of opening the account. You want to be aware of that, right? So those are some of the things you want to be aware of. The credit score you need, the length of time the 0% interest will be in effect, and the fee that you have to pay for the balance transfer. You also want to know is there annual fee on this credit card, period, right? So here's another one, Citi Double Cash Card. You need excellent, good or fair credit, and we're between 600 and 850. The length of time for the 0% interest is 18 months. After that, it goes up between 18. After that, the interest goes up between 18.49 and 28.49%. Sometimes the whether you have to pay a fee for the balance transfer is not really here. You see, it's not really here whether you have to pay a fee, but you have to look. Now, sometimes the card doesn't tell us up front whether there's going to be a fee for the balance transfer, but you have to keep digging. So you're always going to have this disclosure for the credit cards. And if you look at it, right, in this case for this Wells Fargo Reflect Visa credit card terms and conditions, with the 0%, we have 0% for 21 months, and then it tells you where your APR will be after that. Somewhere down here is going to tell you if there's a balance transfer fee. Transaction fees, yeah, under fees, we see there's no annual fee, which is good. However, there's a transaction fee. For balance transfer, there's a 5% balance transfer fee for each balance transfer with a minimum of $5. So you transfer whatever amount of money you're going to transfer to this card, you have to pay 5% of that amount. It didn't say that up front, but when you look in the disclosures, it tells you. So these are some of the things you want to keep in mind. Like we said, the Wells Fargo Reflect card did not tell us that there's a balance transfer fee up front. It's a pretty long intro 0% APR though, 21 months. And again, you can go through these. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can go through these different cards and kind of remembering the features you want to look for, right? The amount of credit you will need, the length of the duration of the 0% interest rate, whether they need transfer fees, right? And it may not say that up front. You may have to go and look at the disclosure, and also is there annual fee. So these are some of the cards. Okay, you can look at that and do your own research and your own due diligence. So you've stayed this long, so hopefully you enjoyed this strategy to pay down credit card debt without paying all the interest. Make sure you hit the subscription button and the like button so YouTube will send this stuff out to more people that like personal finance. And until next time, continue to command your money to grow. MD Investor out.